On Shavuot night, there's a custom to adorn the holy Aron Kodesh with flowers, and it's a hint to the flower-covered Har Sinai, as well as the sweet fragrance that filled the air and then lingered between each of the 10 commandments. So I saw an awesome idea in this year's Shvilei Pinchas, and a Devar Torah that he gave a few months ago on Chanukah, where he relates the concept of the pleasant aroma that comes forth from the flowers with their relationship to Matan Torah and Shavuot, as hinted to in a pasuk in Shir HaShirim. It says in Shir HaShirim, dudaim natenu reach. The dudaim flowers, some learn that it's the mandrakes, that it's the jasmine. These special flowers, natenu reach, they brought forth a fragrance. Says the Bnei Yissachar, Chazal tell us that the dudaim brought forth a beautiful aroma for the whole world when Leah gave her sister Rachel the dudaim that Reuven had picked for her. Then Rachel couldn't have any children. She asked Leah, can I please have your flowers? Can I feel the love of a child to a mother? Or as other commentators say, can I get those fertility drugs that came through those flowers? Or maybe I can get myself a beautiful perfume that my husband will love me more with. Whatever the koach of the dudaim were, Rachel really wanted the dudaim. But we're going to see, not only is the dudaim going to help Rachel give birth to Yosef, but it's also going to be a zechut for Leah. And Leah's mitzvah, giving it over to her sister, led to Hashem hearing her tefillot, hearing her prayers that she wanted another child. And that night, she conceived. And when she traded the flowers for a night with Yaakov, she conceived and gave birth to her fifth son, Yissachar. Yissachar, known as the Amud HaTorah, the pillar of the Torah. And that is the Reach Tov that came forth from the dudaim. And the Midrash itself in Shir HaShirim Rabbah actually links the flowers, these dudaim, to Leah's two sons, to both Yissachar and Zebulun, her fifth and sixth son. Yissachar that was conceived that night when she was with Yaakov, and the very next son, Zebulun, that we find right afterwards in the Pasuk, both of them are the zechut of her giving over the dudaim to her sister. And I was thinking maybe, son number 5, son number 6, Yissachar is the pillar of Torah. We know Zevulun is the one that upholds the Torah. But I was also wondering maybe we can say that Yissachar is 5, Zevulun is 6. We have the 5 books of Torah, Chamishachim Shei Torah, and we have the Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. We have the 6 volumes of the Mishnah. And as we spoke in the past, Zevulun is kind of like the Vavim. It's kind of like the hooks, the Vav, the 6 that holds up things, that holds up parts of the Mishkan, holds up part of the Torah itself. Okay, now if we go to the Pasuk states, Vayelech Reuven b'yemei ketzir chetim. So Reuven went out in the time of the harvesting of the wheat. That's when he went out and he picked these dudaim. Comes along the Targum Yonatan. Says the Targum Yonatan ben Uziel, Azal Reuven b'yomei Sivan bizman chatzad chitin. When did he go out? He went out in the month of Sivan, and that's the time of the wheat harvest. The Al-Sheikh takes it a step further and explains very straight. The wheat harvest refers to the harvesting of the wheat for the Shtei HaLechem, the bread offering. You have to bring 2 loaves of bread as an offering on Shavuot. That is what's taking place. So he says that Reuven went out on Erev Shavuot. What was he doing out there in the field in time of the Ketzir? He was out there collecting the wheat for the Shtei HaLechem. It was Erev Shavuot. And then that night, when Leah conceives, she becomes pregnant with Yissachar. That was the night of Shavuot. So the pillar of Torah, Yissachar, is conceived on Shavuot night. Now, the Shvilei Pinchas wrote this Dvar Torah for Chanukah because he brings down that Chazal tell us the birth of the tribes were very quick. It was every 7 months, and he brings down another Gemara that tells us that whenever you have a 7-month birth, it's not a complete 7 months, meaning it's a little bit earlier. So he says, based on the Bnei Yissachar writes that the birth of Yissachar was on Chanukah 6.5 months later, and thus the light of the Torah is born on Chanukah. So the pillar of Torah Yissachar is conceived on Shavuot, and then the actual Ora Torah, the light, comes first on Chanukah, and he has many ideas over there dealing with the light of Chanukah, relating it to getting rid of the darkness of Yavan, the Choshech of Yavan, also relates it to Yosef in certain ways, because Yosef also came forth from this, because ultimately the dudaim are going to come to Rachel, and ultimately Hashem will remember Rachel as well, and Yosef is going to be born, and Yosef is the pillar that fights against the Greeks. Okay, but that's Chanukah Torah. Let's get back to Shavuot. The Shvilei Pinchas then adds his own chidush. Says the Shvilei Pinchas, Yaakov blesses Yissachar chamor gadam. You open up Vayechi when he's blessing all the tribes. He's speaking about their spirit animals. So Yaakov tells Yissachar is the hamor gadam. He's the strong-boned donkey. Now, what does that mean? Hamor gadam. Well, what's the point of that? So the Midrash in Braying Rabbah plays up on this word garam. It says davar acher, another approach. Yissachar chamor garem. It reads the word garem as garam. Chamor garam oto. The donkey is what caused this to happen. Why? Minayin hayta Leah yodat sheba Yaakov ela nahaka chamor v'shama'a kolo v'yatzat likrato. Now, how did Leah know? It was dark outside. Yaakov was coming back from the fields. How does Leah know that Yaakov was coming home? She heard the braying donkey. The hamor nahak, the donkey called out. And when she heard the voice of the donkey, that's when she knew Yaakov was on his way home. And then she went out, brought Yaakov home to her tent, and that leads to Yissachar. So now the question is, okay, so what's so special about this braying donkey? Why is that point of the story such an important point that now it becomes part of the spiritual essence and the beracha of Yissachar? So says the Gemara in Berachot, Daf Gimel Amud Aleph. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Shalosh Mishmarot Have Halayla. He says the nighttime is divided into 3 different watches. Val kol mishmar o mishmar, Yoshev HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'sho'eg ka'ari. And every one of these watches, every third of the night, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is sitting there and roaring like a lion. Shenemar Hashemim marom ish'ag, mim'on kocho yiten kolo, sha'og ish'ag al navehu. The Gemara over there has a machloket, how do you divide the night? And this pasuk says the language of Hashem roaring like a lion 3 times to tell you that there's 3 different mishmarot to the nighttime. Then the Gemara goes on and it explains that there's a siman, there's like a symbol for each of the 3 watches. V'siman ladavar, mishmara rishona, hamor no'er. And you want to know what the first watch, the symbol of the first watch is, that first third of the night? The first third of the night is the hamor no'er. It's the braying donkey. So the donkey corresponds to the beginning of the nighttime, that whole first third watch. Says the Shvilei Pinchas, he quotes a Gemara in Berachot, Samach Gimel Amud Bet, says as follows: Minayin she'ein divrei Torah mitkaimim ela b'mi shemimit atzmo aleya. How do we know that the Torah is not going to really last? It's not going to make it through. If you want to really have real Torah and really learn the Torah and really infuse Torah into yourself, it's only someone who's mimit atzmo aleya. It's only someone who's willing to give all of his juices, all of his goof. He's like willing to die for the Torah, so to speak, to really be bila asok b'Torah. How do we know this? Shneimar, as the pasuk says, Zot Torah Adam Kiyamut Be'ohel. This is the Torah, the person who dies in the tent, which Chazal tell us we have to be mamit ourselves in the oil of Torah. We have to sit in that oil of Torah and really give all of our energy, all of our kochot to learning Torah. Says the Rambam in Hilchot Talmud Torah. He says, he's explaining this Gemara. Ein divrei Torah mitkamim b'mi shemarpeh atzmo alehen. The words of the Torah are not going to be permanently acquired by a person who, he doesn't put too much effort in. He's marpeh. He does it like easily. He feebly tries to get at it. V'lo be'elu shlomdim mitoch idun u'mitoch achila u'shtiyah. And also not someone who's studying amid pleasures and abundance of food and drink. Ella b'mishmei atzmo alein u'metzaer gufo tamid. And it's only for someone who's willing to give up his life for the Torah, who's willing to strain his body to the point of discomfort in order to learn the Torah, tamid, constantly. V'lo yiten sheina le'einav u'le'af apav tenuma. And he's not going to let sleep come to his eyes. On this, the Torah gave a remez. Zot Torah Adam kemut be'ohel, eina Torah mitkayemet ele b'mi shemit atzmo ba'ohelei hachachamim. And this is, as we said in our pasuk, that only a person who's willing to give his all, give up his life in the tents of wisdom, in the tents of Torah, only if he's willing to die for the Torah, that person can really establish and only by him is it mitkayem. Only is going to be permanently acquired by a person who's willing to give it his all. But interesting, what's the halacha saying? The person has to do it to the point that he's straining his body without granting sleep to his eyes or slumber to his eyelids. And the very next halacha, the Rambam writes, even though it's a mitzvah to learn in the day and at night, it's only a person only acquires the majority of his wisdom at night. Now, I heard once, that doesn't mean that you can't don't learn during the day, only learn at night. No, the person who learns during the day in the normal time, when you have the normal time to learn, but then also adds more time at night, that extra effort, that extra bit that you're putting in, that's going to be the Ikar Torah, that's going to be the Rov Chochmato, that's going to come from the Laila. It says the Rambam, whoever wants to merit, the crown of Torah. Yizaher b'chol leilotav. You have to be very careful with all of your nights. V'lo ya'abed afilu echad mehen b'shena v'achila u'shtiya v'sicha. And don't waste it giving it up to sleep, eating, drinking, talk, v'chayotze bahen, and similar waste of times. Ela betalmud Torah v'divrei chokhmah. Rather, dedicate that time, devote it to Talmud Torah, divrei chokhmah. Amru Chachamim, and says the Rambam further, Ein rina shel Torah ela balayla. Say the Chachamim, the rina, the song of the Torah, is only heard at night. Shneimar kumi roni balayla. As the pasuk says in Eicha, arise, sing out at night. B'chol osek b'Torah balayla chut shel chesed nimshach alav. And whoever occupies himself with Torah studying at night, then a strand of the divine favor of the chesed is extended over him throughout the day. So we see from the Rambam this concept of learning Torah also by night leads to really, really, really big levels. And so too it's nifsak l'halacha in the Shulchan Aruch by Maran and the Rama in Siman Reish Mem Vav says Seif Kaf Dalet. They both bring down this Rambam based on this Gemara that the Ikar, great level of Torah, is going to happen if we dedicate ourselves not only the day, but we give all of our energy. We're willing to put all of our kochot even in the nighttime. Moreover, says the Shvilei Pinchas, Chazal tell us that when Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Har Sinai to learn the Torah, how would he know? He was there for 40 days and 40 nights. How would he know when it was day, and how do we know when it was night? So he says, because it says Chazal, because Hashem would teach him the Torah Shebichtav, the written Torah during the day, but he would switch to the Torah Sheba'al Peh. Hashem would teach him the oral Torah, the Mishnah, the Gemara, that was at night. So he would save the deeper and more difficult parts of the Torah. That was for the Laila. That's when you can get the Rov Chochmah. Do you want the real wisdom? That's going to be the Torah Sheba'al Peh that you're going to learn at night. Says the Shvilei Pinchas. That's what we're supposed to learn from the nature of the braying donkey who calls out in the first third of the night. He's reminding us, don't run to sleep. Don't go to bed. Now is the time to learn Torah. He's braying that first third. Now you want to go to bed. It's the night time. No, stay awake. Learn a little bit more. Put a little bit more kochot. Memit atzmecha for the Torah. And that's the shorish of Yissachar coming from the donkey, that donkey that was braying in the nighttime, the signal to Leah to go out and bring Yaakov back into her tent. That signal is now the shorish of Yissachar. He's going to remind us of that dedication to learning Torah even at night. Don't go to bed. If we go back to that pasuk, that bracha, Yissachar chamor garim, he's that strong-boned donkey, rovetz ben mishpatayim, and he's crouching between the boundaries. Now, what does that second part of the bracha mean? That he's rovetz ben mishpatayim, he's crouching between the boundaries, says Rashi. Kachamor hamehalech bayom uvalayla, like a donkey who's traveling both by day and by night. The eino lina babayit, and he doesn't have a permanent stable to sleep at night. He doesn't have that. He's always awake. He's always working. He always has that all. He always has it on his shoulders. And when he wants to rest, he just he takes a little break, a little crouch on this side, crouch on that side, finds a little bit of space to have a little bit of a rest within the bounds of the city while he's still working, while he's still in that merchandise. He's busy with his job. And we're talking about the Yissachar now being a symbol of the all of the Torah, of the load of the Torah that has to be on our shoulders both by day and by night. And this is the idea that we say, Lo yamush sefer Torah zeh mipicha v'agita bo yomam v'layla, that the Torah is not going to leave our lips, and we're going to learn it, we're going to study in it, we're going to delve into it both by day and by night. So I was thinking, I know that while the Shvilei Pinchas is bringing this Dvar Torah more for Chanukah, as he speaks about the whole light coming out 6.5 months later, so I was thinking, though, let's stop his Dvar Torah right here and take it to our Shavuot and say, maybe this is the hint to our minhag of staying up all night on Shavuot. The conception of Yissachar, the Amura Torah, this is the donkey who's braying at night, don't go to sleep. We're going to be up all night learning Torah. We're going to be mit atzmeinu Torah, one day a year, at least on the day of Matan Torah. We're going to be up all night long saying, Hashem, we want your Torah. That's all we want to be doing with our time. And this might also explain our minhag of placing the flowers by the Arwan Kodesh, because that's the dudaim, natnu reach. That's the flowers that are bringing forth the sweet fragrance of the Torah HaKedushah. Now, the Shvilei Pinchas adds one more point. He says that the flowers were found dafka by Reuven. Why is Reuven the one going out to the field? Why is he the one to find the flowers? Why is it his zechut? So we know that Reuven is known as the Baal Teshuvah. He's the one that makes the big mistake. He has the big mistake with Bilha, that he's going to be tormented his whole life, and he's going to be working on Teshuvah his whole life, to the point that his great-great-great-grandson is going to teach us about the idea of Teshuvah, of Shuva Hashem, return to God. But Reuven is known as the Baal Teshuvah. So the Tefillah Pinchas takes it in one direction, that we have to also, remove our negative habits, do a little bit of teshuvah, return a little bit to God in order to really dedicate ourselves to the Torah. But I was thinking maybe we can take it in a different angle. Maybe we can take it as a little bit of chizuk. It's dafka the Baal Teshuvah, the person you think who's so far away, he can't make it back. He's never going to be able to accomplish anything great in Torah. No, it's dafka Reuven, the Baal Teshuvah. He's the one that brings the flowers that's going to create a Yissachar. And I saw brought down by the Munkatcher Rebbe, quoting the Mekubalim, he writes that Rebbe Akiva is the Sod of Shavuot. It's dafka Rebbe Akiva. Who's Rebbe Akiva? He's the Baal Teshuvah. He's the son of converts. He's the one that only began his real path to Torah at age 40. He is the pillar of Torah. He is the one that all of our Torah is based on Rabbi Akiva. He's the sort, as we mentioned in previous Divrei Torah this year, he's the sort of the Vavim. He's the sort of those hooks that hold up the Mishkan. He's the sort of Vav Sivan, the 6th day of Sivan, Shavuot night. He's the 2 Vavs that make up the shapes of the 2 Luchot. He's the Vav Sidrei Mishnah, the 6 Seders of the Mishnah. Rabbi Akiva is the one to reach the Sha'ar Nun in his lifetime. We've been counting 50 days to get to Shavuot, to try to get to that 50th level. It's such a high level we can't even count it. Moshe Rabbeinu only gets it at the end of his life when he goes to Har Nevo, Har Nun Bo. But Rabbi Akiva gets it in his lifetime. That's the place of Rabbi Akiva, the Baal Teshuvah. He can reach the makom that a tzaddik gamur cannot reach. That's the greatness of Rabbi Akiva. He makes it up to that Sha'ar Nun. It's the Baal Teshuvah Davka that makes it to those great heights. So that should be our inspiration. Reuven, the Baal Tshuva, is going to lead to the birth of Yissachar, the pillar of Torah. He's going to lead to the birth of Yosef, the Mashiach ben Yosef. That's going to usher in that early days until eventually we're going to have David HaMelech, who also is signified in our Chag of Shavuot. We have to take this inspiration and realize that none of us should ever think we can't reach greatness in Torah. We have to learn from Rabbi Akiva, learn from Reuven, learn from Yissachar, learn from the donkey. We have to step it up on this Shavuot. Look to the koch of Reuven, look to the koch of Yissachar, look to that braying donkey and the sweet fragrance of the dudaim. Chag Sameach.